Talk with Mitch Lafon.
We are speaking with Dino from Red Voodoo and, of course, Frank Hannon of Tesla. Bonjour, as we say in Montreal, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Good. Good. So
fantastic, Mitch. It's great to be on your show.
yeah, absolutely. And hey, we're doing video for a change, which is look at us, all modern and stuff. Let me just quickly start with Dino and the name of the band. Before we started the interview, I was watching Dino and Red Voodoo doing Ain't Talking About Love, and I said, you are jumping around like Sammy Hagar on that stage. And of course, Sammy Hagar has an album called Red Voodoo. Is that where you get the name from, or tell me a little bit about where this name comes from?
Yeah, man. So you're exactly right. It's from Sammy Hagar's. It's from Sammy Hagar's album, Red Voodoo with the Wabaritos. But Sammy Hagar, he has his own kind of idea what Red Voodoo means.
Right.
But to us,
I think it's hot sauce, isn't it?
Could be a hot sauce.
Maybe it is.
But you got to love the Red Voodoo. So, all right, Frank, let me go to you for a second. Talk to me about developing a young band or finding a young band and wanting to work with them. Because, listen, the way you set up a band back in the 80s and the way you set up a band now is very different. So talk to me about going out there and saying, okay, guys, I'm going to lend you my experience.
Well, you're right. It is very different and as far as the music business goes with major labels and stuff, but there's not any difference in the fact that if a band or a musician has, a natural talent and they've got song ideas, because it's all about songs, and that hasn't changed at all. And being locked down during this time, and always have had a passion for recording demos for my friends and stuff. I've been doing that off and on my whole career. When the band came to me and I got introduced to Red Voodoo and Dino and his singing and stuff, and he played me the idea for the song, I just really felt that it was really a fun thing to jump into again. And I had kind of stopped spending time on bands because most of them break up and most of them let you down, but these guys are hard-working kids, man, and it's been really a super rewarding project.
Yeah, I can tell. And the first song sounds great. Dino, talk to me a little bit about forming a band and sort of what are your expectations moving forward, and how do you also make it in this day and age? In Frank's day, record company was behind you. They gave you some money. They gave you touring money. Off you went. Now it's a little bit more complicated. How do you sort of see it, Dino?
Yeah, man. So starting off with just like the band, one thing with Red Voodoo is that we really we pride ourselves with our quality backup vocals and quality vocals. As you saw that in Talking About Love, Red Voodoo was originally a Van Halen tribute band. So moving forward with our originals, we want to bring that influence into our songwriting. And, and for this day and age, it wasn't like the 80s with, as you said, the record labels and stuff. And it really focuses now on live shows and ticket sales and merchandise.
Well, okay, so then talk to me a little bit about that, because obviously there are no live shows right now. So how has this whole pandemic affected you? Is it to the point where it could actually prevent the band from moving forward and you have to start looking at doing something else? Or how do you ride it out?
We're actually quite thankful because, we just released our first single. So we have kind of that wave to ride. But also, it gives us time to work on our songwriting. Currently, we're working towards an EP right now, which it's going to be killer 4 songs that we're going to be releasing very soon. And, it gives us time to work on that.
That sounds good. Frank, just real quick, when you're working with a young band like that, how much of do you want to let them just be themselves and let the songs breathe and take on their own thing? And how much do you say to yourself, hey, look, kids, I've been doing this for 35 years. This is how you record a song. Just listen to me. I mean, how much of do you stamp Frank on it, and how much you say, okay, let me help you sort of clean up the rough edges?
Well, that's a really good question, man. It's a great question, actually, because I've been in situations myself, on the musician side of it, to where we've worked with numerous producers, and some of them, every one of them will have a different approach. A producer's job is to be a coach and listen, and the art of listening to the artist and encouraging them and picking the best out of them and allowing them to be themselves, but actually giving them a little bit of listening, constructive criticism to make the product and make them sound better. Kind of like a coach to an athlete who can train. Like Mike Tyson had tremendous natural talent, but it was Customato that brought him to his fullest potential. So that's what a producer does. In my career, I've had producers ruin the project. I've had them be dictators. I've had them be the greatest coaches and make the best Tesla records. So I've experienced a little bit of both, and I know as a musician how I wanted to be treated and what I didn't like. I got treated ways in the studio that I hated, and then I've also been treated ways that made me feel really comfortable. So that's kind of the approach I take. I try to make the artists and the kids feel comfortable, and I give them suggestions. And 9 times out of 10, when they listen to my suggestion and try it, they hear the difference. And, you know, if we unanimously tried something and it didn't sound better than where we were 10 minutes ago, we would all know it. But the goal is collectively as a team to take something and score with it and make it sound better. And it all comes down to listening to it and going, oh, wow, that does work. And if it doesn't work, we won't do it.
And I'm going to take you up on the producer thing in a minute, but I'm going to go back to Dino for a second. You were, of course, a Van Halen tribute band. It is sort of easy to get stuck into making your record, you know, with a lot of Van Halen isms to it. How do you avoid that and make a stamp of your own original music without doing the Alec Fills or the little pangs from Eddie?
Right, man. And I would say, you know, our songs do have the influences from Van Halen, but not necessarily. We kind of made our own sound as well. You know, we're not the same all 4 Van Halen guys. We're, you know, Red Voodoo. So, yeah, and it's just, I don't really know if there's a way to really create your own stamp. It just kind of happens, you know?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Now, just real quick, Frank, you said that you worked with some great producers and some horrible producers, and yet I love every album you've made, so I can't imagine you had a horrible producer. But just real quick, when you were starting out and you were, you know, in Dino's position, and you have Steve Thompson and Michael Barbiero working with you, you know, I'm assuming they were coaches because they, you know, mechanical resonance, you can't beat that. What did you learn from them and their production team? Because they had a very unique style. They really got the best out of bands, my opinion. Of course, you know, Mechanical Resonance, great radio controversy. I don't think you can argue that they're badly produced. I don't think so.
No, those guys are awesome. And actually, we were the first band that they totally produced on that level, as taking us and working with us and developing us. I mean, they had done a lot of remixes for people before us. They mixed a John Lennon album. I think they mixed a Stones single. But actually doing the producing job, they were a great team. And I put them in the category as great. But what people don't know is before we met Steve Thompson and Michael Barbiero and made our first Tesla album, we were being developed by Geffen for over a year. And Tom Zutaut was bringing producers to California and basically hoping to find someone that would be willing to produce these kids in Sacramento. And there was 3 or 4 of them, I can tell you. I don't want to tell you who was great and who sucked, but I can tell you some names. There was Max Norman. There was Peter Collins. I had a chance to work with Roy Thomas Baker on another project. There was a guy named Chaz Sanford who produced John Waite. There was Jim Faraci who produced Rat. and actually made a demo for us that had 4 of the songs from Mechanical Resonance that we ended up redoing, like changes and stuff like that. So there was a lot of guys that we worked with getting run through the grinder with. Basically, they were auditioning us because back then it was a producer's world, man. Mutt Lange had created such a stigma about how important a producer is. And a producer is very important, but the producers' egos were out of control, man. And we got rejected by like 5 or 6 guys before Steve Thompson and Michael Barbiero even took us on.
Can you
But
imagine
that was
a Mutt Lange produced Tesla record? My God, that would be fantastic.
That was a great learning experience for me as a young guy. I mean, I was 17, 18, 19 when that was all happening. And then after that, Tesla was able to work with Terry Thomas, who's an amazing producer. He did the Bad Company albums. And, you know, so we've had a lot of really tremendous fun experiences and a lot of hard experiences, you know, a lot of different things, you know. We just worked with Phil Collin. That was a learning experience, you know. I mean, that's the one thing about music is you can never stop learning. And if you listen, it's all about listening. See, most people are concerned about the playing and that part of it. But more importantly, as a musician, you got to listen.
Oh yeah, you got to do. And by the way, the same goes for when you're doing interviews. You got to listen and get the questions in, and not just have your 10 questions go, oh, okay, great. Question 2. Can't do that. Dino, just real quick, in this world of sort of do-it-yourself, DIY, as the kids like to say,
Right.
why go to Frank? Why not just be one of these bands that just go, hey, we're going to make our own videos, we're going to make our own songs, we have all home studios, we've got MacBooks and iPhones. Why pick up a producer?
Well, just to say it real fast, just, you know, it's Frank Hannon. I mean, that guy is a total legend. And to even get a chance to work with him is such an honor, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Well, that's true.
Of course.
Now you did talk about a 4-song EP, and Frank, actually, you talked about a 4-song EP from Tesla. Just real quick, whatever happened to those demos? Do they exist anywhere? Do you ever think you might do a box set and put those out, the early demos?
Box set.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, with Tesla, Brian Wheat is really involved in the negotiation process with the label and stuff. And he has been talking with them about trying to work out the bugs about who owns the masters of those original demos that we did. So there's some legal stuff that they're trying to figure out that I don't really know about, because that's not my job with
Right.
Tesla. In Tesla, I'm more of the creative director. When Brian and I were co-managing the band, he was more handling the business part of it, and I was handling more of the graphics and the creative part of it. So he has more of the answer on that. But I will say that we do have all those old demos all on a hard drive and ready to go. The ones that Montrose did, everything.
Yeah, my you know my email address. Just send those over. Send those over.
Hey, Mitch, there's a demo floating around that Steve Herta played for me in his truck when I was in Chicago last year. And there's a song called I Can't Wait Forever by Tesla that freaking rocks. And I wish we could put that song out because I'm very proud of that one.
Oh, hey, re-record it for the next album. You can always re-record. You have the right to do re-records. But
hey, that's true.
That is true. But real quick, Dino, you have your 4-song EP that you're working on.
Yeah, man.
When do you think that's going to be available? And musically, what is it going to be for fans that don't know the band?
Yeah, man. So availability, you know, we really we're working on our songwriting. So we want it to be quality work. So probably in the next couple of months, Frank, you know, it's not just my decision, but it's also Frank's as well. Frank, what do you think?
You know what? The thing is right now we're preparing it. And that's the most important part is we're
Yeah.
preparing the arrangements. We're getting all the ingredients together on the songs, and the songs are pretty much, I think they're almost there. So we have a big trip planned to LA this week that's occupying our time. We're doing a full-on production at the Monsters of Rock Cruise Studio. I'm not sure when this is going to broadcast, Mitch, but hopefully if you get it out this week. Huh?
It'll be out this week.
Great. Well, let's tell everybody, please, Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be on Facebook Live. It's going to be the debut, my first live stream concert, along with Red Voodoo and JT Lux, and a special guest, Britt Lightning, the guitarist from Vixen. We're all going to be jamming from the Monsters of Rock Cruise Studios Facebook page, Friday, July 31st. And once we get past that, we're going to come back to Sacramento, come back, and we're going to jump in the studio and start tracking these songs. But I would say for 4 songs, we're going to spend a couple weeks on it, and it's going to be probably ready by the end of next month. You know, what's next month? August? I would say by September we'll have it ready.
Let me ask you this, Frank. In the old days, bands had a chance to develop. If Mechanical Resonance had been awful, the record company would have given you the second chance, and then, you know, even a third album, and then they would have said, okay, well, 3 albums, and, you know, that's when we decide. Now, Red Voodoo, basically, these 4 songs have to be perfect out of the gate, or it could already be over. How aware are you of that, and how much pressure does that put on you to make sure that this is absolutely perfect?
Well, you're absolutely right. And that's what I've been telling these guys. Do not rush it. Let them develop. The scenario that I explained to you about Tesla, working with all those different guys before we finally made Mechanical Resonance, that was over a year's worth of developing. And these guys, man, and Red Voodoo have been receptive to that idea. I think they learned now that if we just take the time, and we want this, anything they put out has to be freaking killer. And I told them, like Van Halen, man, they developed that first album. They didn't just throw it out there from when they were first in the club. So even Guns N' Roses, I remember when Geffen Records was developing Guns N' Roses, man, that Appetite for Destruction album took a long time to develop those songs. And so Red Voodoo is very aware of that now, and they're really, I think they're totally receptive to waiting until it's right.
Yep.
Yeah, and you have to, and you know, listen, Def Leppard, you know, On Through the Night and High and Dry, you know, they slowly built them up to Pyromania. Bon Jovi, the same thing, you know, the first one, and then Slippery. We don't have that luxury anymore. We just don't. It's got to be good.
Well, we do now. We do now with this lockdown. I mean, that's the blessing in disguise with this COVID situation, is we've got the time to do it.
There's no rush.
So there you go. And Dino, since you're in a Van Halen tribute band, jumping around like Sammy Hagar while playing David Lee Roth songs, who's the greatest vocalist in that band?
Michael Anthony.
See the diplomatic answer, because the answer is Sammy Hagar. That's the real answer.
Oh, no, I know it's Sammy, but I thought you were trick questioning me, because that's what everyone does. Like, who's the best singer? And then you say Mikey, and then you win. No,
that's how you
Sammy
do it.
Hagar all the way.
Sammy Hagar, and Gary Sharon got short thrift because he was great live. And anyway,
hey, I want to go back to our Monsters of Rock Cruise stream
absolutely.
that we're doing Friday. I want to talk about that some more, because we're going to do a tribute to Sammy Hagar. We're going to play some kick-ass old school Sammy Hagar songs. We're going to play Rock and Roll Weekend. It's going to be great. So we're really looking forward to this live stream Friday night.
Hope you can tune in.
I'll tune in. And let's see, what's the song lady he does? I do everything but love. I do everything. Anyway, you got to do some
everything
Sam
for you.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the Rick Springfield song that he stole from him.
Well, Rick Springfield, Buck Cherry does a fantastic version of it too. So there you go.
Yeah.
But guys, absolute pleasure. Of course, Red Voodoo, new single is out now, and EP, hopefully in September.
Thanks, Mitch. Man, it's always great to talk to you. I love coming to Montreal. I can't wait till we can get back there. We had a great time there last time.
Frank Marino, man. Frank Marino.
Steve Creep was a great friend you introduced me to. Got to hang out with Frank Marino, man. What a great time. I love Montreal, and I love you, buddy. Thanks for having us.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
And, anytime. And listen, the Red Voodoo stuff sounds great. So folks, head over to YouTube, look them up. I think you'll like what you see. And of course, the live stream this Friday, July 31st.
Yeah.
Merci, monsieur. Thank you, man. Thank you, gentlemen.
Merci beaucoup.
À la
See ya.
prochaine. Cheers. All right.
Bye,
Good.
Mitch.
Good. Well,
See ya. Thank you.
There we go. And there we go. That was perfect.